Alright guys, so I got the FDL jacked up. I did an oil change the other day and I saw some things that were a little alarming. There was a bit of copper shavings or shimmery shavings in there. They're copper, they weren't silver, so it's a little alarming. So I cleaned out a bucket and I'm gonna go ahead and drain this new oil, and then I'm gonna run it through a couple times, basically see if there's any big chunks in there. So we're about to do that. Hopefully it's nothing. Hopefully that pan was just dirty before and it's from a different car. I don't know, we'll see. I got a white bucket, so I should be able to see anything and everything that is in there. So let's get to draining this oil, and then we gotta hook up our oil pressure regulator. Everything's good, and we will get her back on the road again. Finally, I need to hurry up and get this thing done. All right, so this is from our oil change the other day. I've only driven it maybe down the road and back. You can see that it is nice and brown still. This bucket makes it look like it's super dirty, but it's not. So we're about to go ahead and pour this back in. And we'll check the bottom. We'll just do that a couple times. Well, good news, guys. There's nothing in here. Literally nothing at all. There's like one tiny speck. Looked like maybe dirt or something, but that's it. So we're gonna do it one more time just to make sure, but other than that, I am not too worried. I'm actually kind of relieved, so it's good. Well guys, good news. Drained it a couple times, ran it back and forth, left the plug out, that way it'll flow through and it would catch anything that was in there. And, you know, I dumped it straight through the oil filler neck and then exited right out into another bucket that I cleaned very well. So that one's black. There is a little bit of shimmery silver in the oil, nothing crazy. Obviously these are all new bearings, so it's pretty normal. But yeah, no copper like I thought there was. Copper is bad. Silver on new motors is pretty normal just because the babbitt on the bearings wears. So that's normal. Copper is not. That means your bearing is worn through and the inside of it's copper. So if there's copper, it's very bad. But it's good. So now we're gonna take off the rear drain on the rear iron. And we're gonna start working on hooking up this oil pressure regulator. That way, I could start driving this thing. I'm gonna go ahead and take this thing off. I don't know if you guys can see. It's that little block off plate right there. So that's where the oil's gonna drain. All right guys, so this is what I'm doing. I am going to weld onto this plate. I forgot to grab a marker. But I'll put this plate right here, which is the OEM drain line for the twin turbo, and then I cut this, and we're gonna weld it so it goes like that, and then it'll have a AN fitting welded onto this. I'm gonna try to get it a little further up. I got to go to the top, so I'm about to mark this and then weld it, and we'll kind of see from the top where it is and how much more room we got. We might make it taller and kind of make it hug the engine a little bit, that way it's away from this downpipe. But I'm also gonna heat wrap this, so plus it'll have oil running through it, which will help with cooling, so not too worried about the heat. We will tack weld this in place and get her done. there she is. So I just tack welded it real quick, both sides, that way it'll stay, and then we'll go through and weld the whole thing, but for fitment purposes, we're just gonna tack weld everything up. All right, so I found a location to mount my OPR. There it is. So the drain's right there, and then it's just gonna go down. And my plan is to, if I can find it, my plan is to basically set this down, have this welded like that. So this pipe will be sitting here with a -4 onto it, and then the drain will go right into here and to the bottom. So just be a small little line, and then it'll go down there. So I gotta weld that up, and then we will make the lines. Well, guys, I got my fittings in the mail finally, so I'm gonna slacking on the FD. Let's get this thing running out on the street. I just took that headlight cover off. I think I'm gonna take that one off. Looks a lot better without it. But anyways, let's go build some lines to the turbo, oil pressure regulator, the oil feed, the oil drain, all that stuff. We need to get going on this thing and get it running and driving ASAP. So we're about to go do that right now. I'll show you guys the finished product when it's done. All right, guys, a little update. So we got the feed going right there from the front iron to the rear right there. And then of course after the oil pressure regulator, we have it coming out right there at 90, runs under the intake manifold and comes out right there. I'm gonna park this a little bit to the right, that way it's not touching the heat shield or anything like that, and put some of that fiberglass wrap over it. Now all I have to do is make the drain, which goes from obviously the bottom of the oil pressure regulator right there. You kind of can see it, and that's going to go down right there. So I need to basically mock up this piping to figure out where I want it to come up. It's going to come up something along the lines like this basically, and then I will weld this -4 bung onto it. That way it'll accept a -4 hose, and then of course we'll heat wrap this as well. So yeah, it's gonna sit something like that. That would have a nice and straight drain down to the rear iron and into the oil pan. So let's get work on that. Alright guys, so here is the drain all welded up. You can see I welded it there and halfway right here. Yeah, so hooks the transmission just like that, and then runs up. Won't be able to see if I'm down here. Oh, there you go. Runs up, connects there, and right to the bottom of the oil pressure regulator. So we're gonna go ahead and tighten everything down, and then fiberglass heat wrap all of this, just because it is a little close to the, I mean, it's probably a 1/2 inch, roughly, maybe 3/4 of an inch away from the downpipe, but still closer than I'd rather have it. So we're gonna go ahead and fiberglass wrap all this with heat wrap, and then we'll bolt this thing on. All right guys, so here's the finished product with the fiberglass heat shielding installed. I just did some safety wire. It's got some adhesive that tapes it down, but I just toss a couple pieces of safety wire just to hold it, just in case anything crazy happens. But yeah, so there it is. We're about to go ahead and tighten all the lines in the car now. I went ahead and I installed a new fitting on my turbo. That way it's 90 degrees down. I don't have to do like a big loop with my vacuum lines. But yeah, so now it'll just go straight down to the wastegates, which would be perfect. So about to hook this up, tighten all the lines down. I'm gonna add some more heat shielding there. I'm gonna clock that a little bit, and we'll be done. All right guys, so all the lines are done. We're about to prime the oil system. We got the car hooked up to the Mazda 3. We're gonna go ahead and crank this thing until we see some oil come out, and then we'll hook it up, crank again, get some oil flowing through that turbo, and then we'll give her a start. And so of course I put the cold side compressor on and piping and everything. Well, that was quick. We already have some oil pushing out, so that's good. I just need to hook this thing up. I'm gonna go ahead and crank it again. Make sure the oil goes through there. The actual turbo. Cool. Alrighty, let's go ahead and fire this thing up with the new oil pressure regulator on. Go ahead and fire it up, check for leaks. If nothing crazy's going on. Sweet. Well, our oil pressure, our smoking issue seems to be fixed. It is no longer smoking, which is good. So everything is good to go. I don't see any crazy leaks or anything out of the ordinary. I am gonna need to fix that tiny seeping leak. You kind of can see the sun glimmering off it, but oil pan's leaking a tiny bit. It's not dripping or anything like that, but it is seeping. So that will definitely need to be taken care of at some point. We're gonna go ahead and take down the road for a spin, make sure everything's all good.